Well, today we are going to try a few one-eyed drawings for you, just to get back into it, just to get some new stuff back up on eBay. Are you ready? Let's do it. Well, good morning. Today I am decided not to put my face on the video, and I thought I would try something a little bit different. As I have lost the sight in my eye, I thought I would just do a voiceover, just to do something a little bit different. So today I thought I would go through some of the drawings that I've been trying to do very, very slowly. As you can see, I've done some angels on the side there. There is a small angel with a very big lip, which I really I love it. I just thought it came out so nice. And then next to it is a bigger version, an A5 version, with a very thick line around it. Again, an angel. The angel is holding a heart, and I thought, again, it's another beautiful image. Sometimes I just really love the feeling when I look back at some of my drawings. Above that is the happy head, where I've done a little man with a flower growing out of the top of his head. And next to that is an unfinished crocodile where I've just put down a base color. Sometimes it's very good to just kind of start your drawing from a colored splash or a colored image. Sometimes it just adds a little bit of diversity to the way you're thinking. As in the one that I'm working on at the moment, I had done a kind of a hair, orange kind of hair, and I'd done a dress, and then I had left it on the side, and I kept looking at it. So today I thought I would finish it off. What it is that I have done a very kind of, I had this idea of having a very kind of goofy face to it. So I've done some very big teeth and a kind of bobble nose to it. And I thought that it just, I didn't really want to do a pretty lady. I did an earlier one where I'd done a pretty lady, and it was a very nice painting. So I wanted something to be completely opposite. So I wanted a kind of, a very kind of fat-necked woman. I didn't really want a delicate, a small head and a thin neck and then coming down to her shoulders. I wanted to have a kind of a double-chinned, thick-necked lady. quite, quite an unkind drawing, but she looked so happy and all dressed up as like she's off to some kind of party or something like that. I thought it was quite beautiful in my own twisted mind. And there, just slightly above it, has been my eye patch that I've been using in a couple of drawings. You can see a kind of a sunshine with eyelashes. And the cover of this video will be actually a friend of mine, Lady B, has sent me an AI version of that photo of me with my eye patch, and it's kind of like some kind of hippie acid trip type of version of that photo, and I thought it was beautiful. And she'd done it on some kind of AI kind of software, and although I'm not a fan of AI, she has sent me a couple of images of myself in a AI version of a photo, and some of them have actually been quite fun. And I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was really a different image, so I've decided to use it. Thank you, Lady B, for your hard work and imagination. So I'm just finishing off this drawing now, and at this point here I'm deciding, does she need ears? Now it's one of those kind of elements of a drawing that I feel sometimes can destroy a drawing. Um, Sometimes I've drawn a head and I haven't added the ears, and then I decide to add the ears at a later stage, and I always mess up. I never like it after I've added ears, but I decided to write my name while I'm sign it while I'm deciding about the ears. And I've given it a title of Ma, as in mother. Um, I have no idea why I decided, but it's part of me. It's part of my kind of two brain system. It's like I kind of constantly feel like my right brain is talking to me, and as I am thinking about the ears, I will hear like almost like another thought will come over the top and say, "Call it Ma, call it mother, Ma." Like, "Hey Ma," you know. And at the beginning, when I first started to draw, I would kind of not really listen to that side of my mind. I would kind of just see it as silly thoughts. But I've found that over time that it actually adds a lot to the drawing if you're aware of your thinking. You know, if you're very aware of the thoughts that are running through your mind, and sometimes it's a dual thing. I'm worrying about, should I add ears to it? At the same time, there's this thing that's saying, call it Ma. Are you going to put a frame on it? No, don't put a frame on it because there's too much. You know, I find it's like. So I've kind of joked about having this two brains to deal with, and it really does come across in some of my drawings that there is this um, second voice, if you want. So here I've found that it's a little bit too empty around the edges, and I couldn't frame it, so I've put some ink splats around it just to kind of fill out the paper. Sometimes having too much white can be a distraction, and sometimes it actually, like with the angel next to it, the very thick line, there isn't much splatter around it because I feel like it helps it, because the very thick line pushes the drawing forward. I've just moved one of the little angels simply so I can put that lady onto the side. And again, I found another piece of paper where I've started a drawing and never finished it. And there has been a lot of um, interest in a lot of the birds. I've put a lot of bird drawings up on eBay, and they've all sold. It's quite incredible. Um, so the birds seem to be very, very popular. Um, so I decided here that kind of gives me a kind of punky feeling, a punky haircut. And I really love this idea of a very big, thick beak on a bird. Um, I think it's more kind of because I've been drawing a lot of birds with teeth, and in most cases, if the beak is very thick and you add teeth, it it looks really quite nice. It kind of entertains my own mind. So yeah, I've added some teeth to this bird with his punky blue haircut. The nib on this is a Geo Hughes. It's a fine liner one. Um, oh no, this one is actually a flexi nib. The This blue pen, you will see it. I do use it quite often, and it's a very delicate, very fragile kind of nib, and it's one of those flexi nibs. And I've talked about flexi nibs before in some of my videos, and uh, they are, for me, very easy to break. But this one is a particularly beautiful nib because it is so fragile and it's very it can do a beautiful thick black line, and it can do a very fragile gentle line at the same time. And that's not the case with most flexi nibs, I must say. It's kind of like um, it just seems to the flex seems to overtake your drawing, and everything is thick and chunky. Whereas this one, I think I've called it my kind of ballerina nib or something like that, you know, because it is so gentle, and it is really quite a delight to draw with. So that is a flexi nib on this one. And I've used that blue pen a few times. That's um, so if you do see that blue pen appear, it's a flexi nib. Um, and across my pens, you will find, if you do look closely, that there may be 10 pens on my table, but there's 10 different nibs. Um, that is part of the beauty of using a dip pen, is that the nibs are very, very, very different. You know, you put a different pen in and it gives you a different feeling. And that's sometimes part of the way it, when I'm drawing, I pick up a different pen and it will give me a feeling. And I'll follow that feeling. If it gives me a very wet feeling or a very thin feeling, it kind of leads me in a certain direction as I'm drawing, which is nice. There you go. I've written punk bird on the top there. Because there was a lot of space. You can see there's a lot of space at the top of my drawing because of where I put that initial blue paint. It's left a lot of space above the head. Whereas before I might have used that space to put a long neck and then a face. Whereas actually I've used that blue as a haircut. You might, as I'm talking, you might hear a very gentle kind of snore, and that is Mr. Miro, who's sitting right next to me, and he's fast asleep. So you might at some point hear a little snoring sound. Very beautiful. And I've seen out of the corner of my eye one of my red orange inks, and I just thought it would be so beautiful to outline it with that color. Again, it's one of those type of things. It's not something that's planned, but as I'm drawing, I see this ink bottle above, and it and my second brain starts to talk. Use that ink. Use that ink. You know, it's kind of it's like having a small child in in my mind. But I think once it dries off, you can see that the orange is a lot stronger than the blue at the moment. But um, the blue is dried. It's a dry paint, and the orange is wet. So the wet will obviously look darker. As it dries, it will kind of calm down. You can see there by the time I've picked up my second piece of paper, it's already lightened in color. Now here again, I'm using my little bendy flexi brush, which I absolutely love. This brush, I love it so much, and I've just done two big swirls. Again, not trying to think too much, but as at this point here, when I'm starting to do the hair, you can see I'm thinking like crazy now. I'm thinking, what is it? What is it? What have I drawn? What have I drawn? What could I add to it? And of course, I start to see ears. I start to see a hare. I start to see a rabbit, um, which is very exciting when you start to put down a line, um, and you, oh, I have to move that because it's too wet. If the flick of an ink goes onto the wet, the black will just devour the orange. It will just take over. So that's why I've moved the drawing. But yeah, at this point here, I'm starting to think about a rabbit or some kind of crazy hare, which those two curves that I've drawn, without really thinking, is kind of giving me a beautiful, beautiful pair of ears. Um, which is, again, it's a really nice thickness to it. And there I've changed pen. I've grabbed a I think this is the Geo Hughes pen, and it's another favorite nib. It's a fine liner nib, and it just gives such a contrast to the brush. You can see the how with the ear, the kind of diversity of line there is this very thick, overpowering line is then married up with this very gentle fine liner inner line, which I just love that. I love the way that the the thick and the thin of a line can really add a lot to a drawing up. It's a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful thing in other people's artwork as well. I mean, not just in my own. Um, um, you can see I'm adding the eyes here, and I do have a habit of drawing lots of wrinkles under their eyes. I don't quite understand where that's come from. Um, but again, it seems to be part of my style now. It's like very wonky kind of smile, which which really has seemed to define the character instantly by adding this kind of wonky, crazy smile is really added so much to the character. And what am I? I'm going to add some teeth now. Again, using the same pen. Now you might be able to hear I've got a slight sniffle to my sound, which I'm beginning to get a little bit of a cold. Me and Mr. Miro went for a walk this morning, and it began very heavy rain, so we got absolutely soaked when we came back. But as somebody that lives alone, that's part of the beauty of having a little furry friend. That when you come back, you have to get a towel and you have to dry him off, and he's kind of running around thinking it's like a game, and you're trying to dry him, and then you can get a big duvet and cover him over, and he falls asleep and starts to snore, which is where he is at the moment, snoring away, which is so it's beautiful. It's like to sit with a dog that's been out and had a walk, and he sniffed everything and peed on everything all the way around the whole way, to come home to get dried off and to fall asleep and snore happily is like, it's like a prize. It's like, it's such a beautiful part of my day having Mr. Miro running around and adding a beauty to my life. He is such a delight. At this point, I haven't even finished the drawing, and I'm already writing text onto it. It's like my mind is like in kind of overdrive. I can't actually see because of my eye. I can't actually see what I've written on it. but I'm sure you can, so it's fine. And I've decided to put this rather delightful hair, this delightful rabbit, into some kind of shirt, which I love to draw shirts, as you will probably see in a lot of my drawings. People are wearing shirts for some reason, and I just find it such a beautiful thing to draw. I need to bring up a hand. Like he's got this kind of devious smile, and I kind of feel like he's almost like wiggling his clawed fingers as he's thinking about doing something naughty, um, which I'm drawing at the moment. And again, I'm trying to kind of get that roughness and that gentle line to give me that diversity there against the ears. Again, a very wild line coming down on the body, um, spraying everywhere as it goes. A very, very beautiful drawing. I'm very pleased with that one. And this is part of what I've been talking about kind of following your inner feeling about doing a drawing, about putting down a line before you decide where you're going to put it. It's about, I do feel like your inner you knows exactly what you're doing. So have that confidence to put that line down, you know? And that's in a lot of my drawings, that you can see that I basically just slam down a paintbrush on a piece of paper to kickstart my inspiration, kickstart my imagination to create something. I've just signed it up there for you, so the people that will be buying these drawings, um, and I'm thinking this time I might put a few kind of just line drawings in. Um, uh, the colored ones are lovely, but sometimes when I've done a drawing like this one, it looks so lovely already. Except I wanted to add some more kind of darkness around his eyes. Now I've done this kind of clawed hand of deviousness. I've added a darker rim around the bottom of his eyes, like a few more wrinkles there at the top. And lovely. I'm very, very pleased with that drawing. And whoever gets to buy it on eBay will be a lucky person. In fact, talking of lucky people, one of the drawings that I put on eBay last couple of weeks was one called the Goofy Angel, and it was very strange because it was one of the drawings that I'd done, and I'd painted it up, and it was kind of like this goofy angel. It had no arms and no legs, but big wings. And it was kind of like a kidney being with wings. And it was, I don't know, sometimes I just fall in love with my own drawings, you know. And that one I really loved. There, I'm showing a close up for you there, look. And and so I decided to take it off the eBay auction and keep it for myself. um, Selfishly, I know, but I decided to keep it, and I took it out of my selling box, and I put it on the side for me to frame and put up. And but I forgot to take it off the eBay auction. So for Ian, if you're out there and you're listening to this, Ian, you have bought one of my favorite drawings. It's definitely from the small drawings. The two that I really loved were there is one that you can see that I framed, that I kept up. I'm wearing a leopard skin fur coat, and I'm holding it up. I kept that one, and I was going to keep that one, but I forgot to take it off the eBay auction, and Ian um, has bought it. So well done, Ian. I'm very jealous. So, in fact, Ian has actually bought about 20, I think. He bought about 20 um, of the. And there has been quite a few people buying multiple. There's also someone called Cleo who bought a whole batch. There's Cynthia that's bought a whole batch. There has been so many people that have bought um, 10 or 20 multiple images, which is why I had to do a second batch. I basically sold like 100 in a few days um, to about 3 people. So, and here's another wonky line that I've thrown down with my brush. A very wonky big ear and little ear. And you can see how quickly I'm drawing at the moment, because it kind of gave me this instant idea of a very kind of nasty cat. And again, I don't know where that idea came from, but as soon as I had done that splash and the line had gone up and I'd drawn two kind of very different ears, my mind just burst into excitement. And you can see here I'm drawing very long, nasty teeth. Very long, nasty kind of monster-like teeth. And I've done these very small kind of beady eyes, which I just find with the large chunky ears and these beady little eyes is just gorgeous. I love it. Again, I'm writing before I finish my drawing. Really insane, really, if you think about it. Really, that I'm not even thinking about. I'm so kind of confident that the rest of the drawing will be beautiful. That I can just have the idea. My second brain is saying, "Write meow above." Why? It's like let me finish my drawing, but my second brain is already talking, saying, "Write meow, write meow." Okay, I'll write meow. You know. So yeah, it really is quite lovely to see the drawing coming together, because I'm just as surprised as you are about what is coming through. You know, so many so many people have kind of asked about how I've planned my drawing and such, but um, these are not planned. These are being felt. These are being discovered as I go. And again, I've probably got the idea for this hand from the one that I've just drawn before about this clawed fingers. And here I've really gone into this very wild, furry hand with claws onto it. And here I'm bringing up a second hand. I enjoyed that hand so much that I'm actually getting into drawing a second hand. And you can see I'm really enjoying every stroke of the pen, producing those clawed hands. And he's got like this big kind of thick dog collar on. Again, it kind of adds to the character of this wild, like vampire toothed cat. Um, he's got these terrible little beady eyes and these big teeth and this big collar. It just makes him look so dangerous, you know. All right, you haven't left much space to put your name, Kieran. Where are you going to put your name? Uh, oh, they very clever, very clever. Right in the middle between the hands. Again, another very nice drawing. It's been a quite a fruitful morning of just relaxing and just letting the ink talk for itself, letting the ink run. Um, as you can see, I really do enjoy writing my own name. I've come up with this kind of signature that I enjoy writing as much as I do the drawing. I find that each time I write my name at the bottom of a drawing, it's very different to the one before. Um, and I love that each letter has a form, but like sometimes the K is very long lines. Sometimes it's very short, small, thick, you know. And again, I feel like that adds a lot to the drawing. Sometimes it's a lovely addition. But then again, it's always nice to have. That's come up really nice, isn't it? That's a really nice drawing. And yes, the meow adds a lovely touch. Thank you, Second Brain. But yeah, I mean, you know, I would love to have a signed drawing by people that I love. You know, Ronald Searle or somebody like that. I would love to have a couple of signed drawings from them. Um, Again, I'm not comparing myself to somebody like Ronald Searle, but the idea of having a signed original piece of artwork is really quite a beautiful one. It's really quite a beautiful thing to have. You know, and for those people that have bought artwork, I'm obviously selling them rather cheap at the moment, but I'm very, 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 very sure that in the future these will become very beautiful collector's items. And I'm hoping that they will be worth considerably more money, you know? I'm hoping that if you've bought something for £20, it's going to be worth £200 in the in the future, or £2,000, as I see with with Ralph Steadman and people like that. It's unless you're going to come up with like £20,000, you're not going to get an original um, Steadman or Gerald Scarfe or Ronald Searle. Indeed, I've bought some litho prints. In fact, there is 4 litho prints in my studio that my kids bought me, and they're 4 litho prints, and I love them. I look at them every single day as inspiration. Right, so here I've done a very big splash, and it seems to have given me this idea that it's like a very big black eye, like a hollow eye, and that has given me the idea to draw a skull. And again, I've done a few skull drawings, comical. They're quite fun in the way that I draw them. Um, and here I'm drawing a skull with very odd teeth. But I'm adding a smile. If you can see that there is a smile there. And I've also drawn a missing tooth, as you can. Of course, you have to add a missing tooth just to add to the kind of comedy of the image. And also to the fact that I've just recently had a tooth pulled out that was extremely painful. So that adds a little bit of meaning to it. There's the smile. So he's a friendly skeleton skull. Oh, very wild line thrown across the middle there. Again, that's my second brain talking. My second brain is just throwing that line down, and then my other brain has then got to think about what I can do with it. Um, and the obvious thing is to draw some kind of like a monk gown is what seems to have been the decision from my other brain. My second brain is very happy with the fact that there's a big splashed line across it. So I'm deciding then to draw a kind of a boned neck going into this very big collar, this very big kind of monk's cape almost. And again, we have a beautiful mix here with the very thick lines on the top and then the very delicate line underneath. Oh, I've done a rude finger. He's a rude ghost that's obviously smiling about his rudeness. He has put his right arm up and he's flipped the finger. Okay, that's definitely my second brain thinking. My first brain would never have done that. My first brain would have done him drawing a flower or holding a flower or something like that. My second brain has got out of control on this one. Again, I'm adding some buttons to it here. I know that the skull ones, the skeleton people that I've drawn, has actually been very popular also. Um, I think I did about 3 of them, and they sold almost instantly. In fact, one of them went to a lady called Laura Orca. Laura Orca, and she made a whole video of receiving uh, my drawing, and she did a beautiful little video, which I shared. I did share it on Instagram, um, and I sent her a couple of. She bought a couple of pieces of me, um, and and then just an addition, my mind was to draw her an orca. I don't think Laura Orca is her real full name, but the Laura Orca kind of gave me this idea that she loves whales. So I drew an orca whale and painted it up, and I sent it to her as a gift. Since she bought so many pieces of artwork, and she did a beautiful video, kind of showing off my artwork and thanking me and everything. It was absolutely gorgeous. Um, yeah. Um, so the skeletons were quite popular. I think I did one in a fur coat. I think that's the one that Laura bought. And then I did like a skeleton bird also, that went to America. In fact, America has bought quite a few. I think there is also there is somebody that I think is a bit more of a collector that's kind of buying and reselling, because a lot of the bigger drawings were sold to America. Someone did buy quite a few um, of the more kind of expensive drawings. And I have the feeling that they bought so many of the originals that they will be popping up in some kind of later auction as a resale. Um, uh, I think in amongst that were a few of the ones that I really did like. And but it's beautiful because, you know, I've been sending artwork out to America and the Netherlands and France and Brazil and Sweden and England, of course, Ireland, of course. So it has been a wonderful adventure. Right, we've got some scratchy ink going down. At this point, I'm not really sure what that line is, but I've decided to add a hat to whatever it's going to be. Why would I add a hat to something that I don't even know what is under the hat? Now, in all kind of drawing teaching videos, you will find that people will not tell you to do that. People will tell you to draw the character, then add a hat. But you know, I do have a little bit of a growl at a lot of these teachers. These people that are teaching you to draw, and they've been drawing for about a year, and I find that some of their teachings is not helpful. Some of it sounds exciting and dramatic, and but I find it's very distracting. I find that if people are following a lot of these drawing teachers, you might get misguided. There you go, I'll say it gently. Go and find somebody that has been a professional person and will give you some ideas about drawing and some ideas about controlling your artwork. Much more interesting. And here I've added again, my second brain has come in and said, it's like an 80s haircut. It's like a, do you remember the band Human League? Human League had this long fringe that covered one eye. And for some reason that has popped into my mind, and I've added this long fringe, kind of giving him that 80s kind of pop hairstyle. And of course I had to do, on the other side, I had to draw a large earring to add to that kind of 80s magic. And yes, I was part of that 80s magic of growing my hair long to cover my eye and bleaching it white. I've got some rather embarrassing photos of me having a long white fringe, and the rest of my head being red or black or something like that too. Yeah, well, we've all gone through those embarrassing early stages of our life. And here I've again, I'm going into adding with some kind of a shirt, like those old kind of starched collars where they stand up very high, and then you've got a small collar at the top that bends over. And it just seemed to fit that character, that style, that adding a little bit of shading there. Which again is going to lead me to add a jacket to basically frame that shirt, that stylish shirt. Now, if I was to just to draw the shirt and not add a jacket, it might not look so stylish. But the fact that I'm adding lapels to a jacket add a lot to that style, and really kind of makes the shirt stand out much, much, much more. And it's actually come up with a very beautiful shape to that character. Again, I'm throwing some ink around. I go through so much ink, it's ridiculous. And I've obviously made the body slink to the side. It gives me a lovely space to put a very big signature with a very big splashy K on that one. Very nice. And part of the beauty of selling these drawings off is that you can also go back and watch me draw them. You know, you might have bought this drawing and you can go back onto YouTube and you can watch me draw that exact drawing. It's like it's such a beautiful. I love the idea that people can go on and find the drawing that they've bought and watch the creation of it. Watch how it's kind of come from a blank piece of paper to the final piece. Again, another lovely drawing. I think we are coming to the end here, so as I'm doing the kind of voiceover to this, but if this is the last drawing, then thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very, very soon. Bye-bye.